Are
rolling.
I don't think we're voting tonight on anything.
No.
Okay.
Most of it's operational, I just put it in there.
Okay. Okay, so you guys know we videotape this and then we air it, so we can't say the F swear or anything too many times. Yeah. Okay, so we're ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the Petaluma Community Access Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, October 18, 2016. And we do not have a secretary, so John, in the absence, could you please call the roll?
Okay, Cindy Thomas.
Here.
Mark Aramigo.
check.
Domenica Giovannini.
Here.
Tim Williamson.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, and so we have a quorum. And this would be the time that if anybody wanted to make public comment, they could do so. And I think it would be a good time if any of you gentlemen would like to speak, because I don't see how it would fit on any of our agenda items, so.
Yeah,
Speech.
it's a good time.
Speech.
It was a good time.
Introduce yourself a bit.
So introduce yourself
Sure.
and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Richard Alpert. I'm a sculptor. I spent 10 years on the board of trustees as an artist trustee for the San Francisco Art Institute in San Francisco. I have 3 videos that are going to be included in the Havana, Cuba International Film Festival in December, and I'll be going to Cuba to participate in that.
Can we
I
bring
live-
me back a couple cigars, please?
Sure. I think Obama just is now allowing
legal?
illegally
Yeah.
to get back
Just like 2.
Havana cigars and rum. I think it is also.
Yes.
So we can all get sloshed together.
High
Okay.
proof rum. Bring back some high proof rum.
I live in Pen Grove. Recently moved up here. I lived in San Francisco for about 37, 38 years. I'm originally from New York. Went to school at the University of Pittsburgh, where I was an art student in their studio arts program. And so that's a little bit of my history. I showed was really active in the 80s with the art scene in San Francisco and in New York and Europe. I took a little hiatus of about 30 years. And so now I'm sort of bringing myself back.
Resurrecting it, huh?
So I'm retired, so I've got the time to do that.
Good for
Wow,
you.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, did everybody look at Richard's application? Yeah. Did anybody go to the website? I did.
Not
I
yet.
was impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When were you at the Art Institute?
Let's see, 70, so I would say 74 through 84.
I just missed you.
Oh, really?
Left
Did
in
you go? You
70.
went there?
70 to 72.
Ah.
And I had a very dear friend who was there, Carlos.
Oh, Carlos Villa. Yeah, I already had a retrospective not too long ago at the MoMA in San Francisco. I had a friend who was very close with him. They attended bar down in a village, a
Yeah.
place called the Ninth Circle. So.
And Max's Kansas City, he was a bartender there too.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, he gets
Enough of the
got
gossip.
around.
6 degrees.
Max's is pretty was famous
Yeah.
kind of place.
Carlos was a cool dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Dennis Murphy. I don't know if you can see me in the camera, but been doing radio for a couple of years now. Started off on a pirate radio station, and now I've reformed, and I was on a community radio up in Sebastopol with KOWS. And I'm very excited for the Petaluma Community Access because I was born and raised in Petaluma, and I know plenty more people who could hear me that I know here than in Sebastopol. So I'm excited for the radio project and hope to help out with that as much as I can.
And you're interested in being on the board?
Absolutely, yes.
That's
Cool.
Yeah, And then, did you know our application is on the website?
I did not. This was
Okay.
a
Well,
last
we need
minute thing
print
that my
one, or
father
you
told
go
me
there and
about,
get
so
it.
I will have that in.
Okay.
For next week.
You
You got the rest of the day.
You got the rest.
Okay,
Still light outside.
thank you.
I
And,
was teasing him earlier, he's used to me already.
I'm Paul Strobeck. I'm recently retired too, and recently relocated to
Congratulations.
Petaluma. Been here about a year, and just really interested in, learning more about the community and getting involved in the community, and very excited about the radio and like to do a show. And John called me about, an opening. Just want to kind of be like Dennis, where you just kind of help out wherever you can. And the board, I have no idea what you guys do, so would be interested. I was an IT manager for 30 years in San Mateo County at the DA's office. So I've got a lot of experience working on committees and stuff like that. So.
well, there you go. If you've got committee experience, then you can sit here.
Okay.
You could do this.
And if you've got IT experience, you may get a phone call or two.
Yeah, but we have to put you on the payroll if you're on the board. Yeah. Okay,
So
thank
Did you
you.
hear
Here are
that part?
packets for the prospective for interested board members. The last page is always what you need back. And you can get it online and fill it out
Okay.
like Richard did online.
Okay, so our board is a volunteer board. There's no pay, and if you were looking to make money here, and join staff, you could not sit on the board. Because the board is the governing body. John is the executive director, so he is in charge of day-to-day operations. So we just pretty much make, money decisions, major governing type decisions here, whereas John does the day-to-day operations, so. If you have any producer gripes, it's not gonna do you any good to sit here, because you'll have to deal with John. Anyway, thank you for your interest, and, what we'll do is have you guys sit here and sit in on the meeting, and if you still wanna do this, then we'll appoint you at the next meeting,
Maybe,
if we have a consensus here.
if we like him.
If we have a consensus, yeah.
It helps to have an offline conversation with one of the other board members.
Yeah. Feel free to talk to any of us. Okay, so, we're through public comment, board of directors comments and announcements, if we have any.
I have a couple. They're kind of within the scope, kind of in the broader scope, but I wanted to just share two different conferences that are coming up. There's the Professional Services Marketing Group conference that happens actually this Friday in Santa Rosa at 12 o'clock. I can give anyone, it's for marketers and then anyone that does marketing, which is everyone that still works or is in business as far as my opinion goes. And so it's just a local group of marketing professionals that get together, and it's an annual conference. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year, and they have some pretty awesome people that are going to be speaking about video marketing and all different types of marketing. So I can share that information specifically with anyone that's interested. And then further out of the scope, but I'm actually speaking in a health technology conference in November 5th in Oakland. So I just wanted to share that. Again, if anyone's interested in health and technology and how to bridge the gaps with populations that don't use our health technology as well, let me know. I can give you the information for that conference. It's at the Impact Hub in Oakland. If you've never been there, it's really cool. Really cool.
So professional services marketing
Group, North Bay Professional Services Marketing
North
Group.
Bay
I'm gonna be the
Professional.
Professional Services Marketing Group of the North Bay.
Professional services marketing group.
Yeah,
And that date is?
this Friday. Whatever the date
What's Impact?
is. The Impact Hub.
What's Impact Hub?
Yeah, so it's actually a center and an organization, and they kind of host all things social entrepreneurship, impact based, and it's an actual really cool facility in Oakland.
Where in Oakland is it located?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been there yet. This will be my first. I've heard a ton about it, but I've actually never been there before.
Is it related? Is it called the Hive down there? I'm trying to think of the tech hub where they got all the people together and
I like an incubator.
the incubator.
I'm
yeah.
not sure. I'm not sure if it's in the same exact location. Oakland's got a lot of different organizations, but it could be part of the Impact Hub, or it can be an associate of the Impact Hub. But there's also P for Health, which is a public health incubator, public health technology incubator.
Sounds awesome.
That's going to be speaking as well. So, like I said, the registration's like $18, and it's on a Saturday, so it's something that's totally accessible for anyone that's interested. So, happy to share that information with you.
I'll be filming Project Censored on the 21st at Sonoma State, and they're hosting Abby Martin,
Yeah.
David Talbot, and I forget her name, but she started Mint Press. Young lady started Mint Press, and that's open to the public also.
David Talbot, the author.
Yeah, David Talbot and Abby Martin, the reporter. So if you're familiar with Devil's Chessboard, it's going to be a spirited conversation.
Friday is 21st. Are you doing the 22nd?
Yes,
What's it?
but it's open to the public on Friday evening at 7:30.
Great. And you got 2 cameras, I saw.
Yeah, I got 2 cameras. I'm shooting from 9 a.m. till 9 at night, and then Saturday, unless I win tickets for something else, but
I
maybe
could
we'll be
help.
shooting Saturday also.
I could help if you need a break. I'll be there. At least I'll be there Friday.
Yeah, well, I'll know tomorrow if I'm going to be able to do Saturday completely, but
Keep in touch.
we have assistants there also with Nikki.
Great. Thank you for doing that. It's a good program.
Nothing from you this week?
No, I'm just overwhelmed.
Something different? Okay, thank you. Agenda approval, everybody's got the agenda, and hopefully have reviewed it. Is there anything that we have to do to modify this before we get a motion to approve? If
I'll
not-
move approval.
Okay, is there a
I'll
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of minutes of the September 20th, 2016 meeting were sent to you. Did everybody review those? And if so, is there any changes or corrections?
I was not here, so I cannot.
Is there a
Everything
motion?
looked
I will
great.
abstain.
I'll motion to move.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Do you want to abstain? Or
Yes,
do
I
you-
had to
has to.
abstain. I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
All right, the minutes are approved. We also do not have a treasurer at this time, so again, we'll call on John to give treasurer
Jack of
report,
all
if you
trades, or
will.
John of all trades.
If you will, please.
Okay, so we're still doing good. If you look carefully at the balance sheets, the financials, you will have noticed that there are some negative numbers, but that's to be expected in October because our quarterly pay fees haven't arrived. If you look though on the budget and loss performance, we're still $20,000 in the operating fund. I did do some research on the question of the difference between our operating budget and our bank statements, and there is an extra $80,000 in the checking account that,
Oh, bummer.
that I'm not using in my annual budget. So, and this was a number that was given to me by David Torres.
And that was the money that Kathy wanted in.
Yeah, and we can put that at the lower, below the line.
It's in the balance sheet anyway.
It's in the balance sheet, and it would be treated like the 50,000 that we have at the Exchange Bank.
Yeah, I think she just wanted it so it was easier to see.
Yeah, it'll be there the next budget.
Okay,
And what else was on the, we do need to do new check signing cards for both banks, but it would be wise to wait till we replenish the board and have a treasurer. That would be quite helpful. You and I are the only check signers at this point, and Kathy's name is still on it, and so is Ian's. Which isn't a problem, we just can't sign it, it's on the board,
but the bank's been notified that they can't sign any checks, right?
no,
Just
I
don't
can't.
give them any to sign.
I wouldn't. The bank, as far as the bank concerned, well, we can get by with one signature.
Right.
That's
right.
our requirement for two. So, but I made sure that they don't sign it. And
Okay.
one other, no, that's something else. So that's it for the financials.
Okay, any question on the financials? I'll pass this around so you guys can take a look at what we look at. Okay, so the treasurer's report is done, and John, you have next the executive director's report.
My turn again. Okay, so we had a members meeting on September 29th here in the office. It was a great event, I thought. Kept me
I
busy.
did too.
Yeah. It was pretty full, but mainly because of the radio. A lot of radio people were curious and came. And yeah, my only regret is we didn't have any vegetarian offerings. It was all barbecue. That was good. Sliders. And our bylaws, the only item on the ballots for the election was changing the bylaws, and it passed. And that was a great relief to Cindy and I. We've tried 3 times to bring our old PCA was created in 1996, and it called for 13 board members. And in those days, it was easy to fill. And then it started to peter off. And when we came over here in 2008, I think we never had 13, but we were close, 10 or 12. And then it got down to a very manageable 7. Maybe fluctuated 6 or 8, but 7 was the average, and it worked quite well. And that would be made up of 4 elected. When it was 13, it was 4 elected, 5. I can't remember now. Let me just go with what it is now. Right now, we need 4 elected board members, 3 appointed, and a designate from the city and a designate from the school district. Tim is our designate from the city, and we don't have anybody from the school for the moment, but we're working on that.
Yeah, it used to be 5 elected, 5 appointed, 2 city and 1,
Okay, there you go.
2 school and 1 city.
We never had 2 school.
Huh. Rarely had 1.
Show up, yeah.
Well, in the old building we had.
How does the elected work?
That's an annual process. It usually starts, we start in May. We reunite the nominating committee, and they will start to canvass and make nominations. People, if you were applying to be on the board in April, May, we might talk to you about running and then put you on the ballot. The nominating committee then picks their choices for the open seat.
Makes recommendations.
Makes recommendations. Thank you. And anybody who's a member of PCA can also get on the ballot if they have a petition signed by 10 active members. Then they get on the ballot. It's been a couple of years since we had a loser. I mean, more candidates than seats. And we have an issue coming up in that we only have one board elected seat and we have 1 empty elected seat, but both of them end next year. So we're gonna have to stagger something with different lengths. Cross that bridge next year. In our community media outreach, we covered the poetry walk. We had 2 interns go and film the poetry walk. We also covered the candidates forum in City Hall. There was a school district forum and a city council forum. And they're on the air, they're on the website, and we got some excellent press in the Argus. Second page. Candidate forums on Petaluma Community Access.
Yes, who wrote it?
And I'm going to be doing 2 more Art of Cinema in Chapter lectures. These will be we'll pass these around. Take 1. These are numbers, that didn't be enough to go around. There's a few more. These will be number 7 and 8. It's a co-production with the Petaluma Arts Center. And they've been quite successful. I think we filled
Will
the
there
house.
be popcorn?
There will be pop. We gotta fix
Thank you.
Gotta fix our popcorn maker.
You do a fine job with this, by the way.
Thank you. It's fun. So I've got two coming up, one a week from Thursday and another one the first Thursday in November. It's free and it is a lot of fun. I enjoy it. What I do is I string together chapters from DVDs on a theme, and then I talk a little bit about them, some of the background secrets and some of the, you know, the art of, what goes into making a movie and the style and the technique. The secrets of the trade. Where's my sheet? The radio project status. So we have an MOU with the JC for an antenna. And we're working out some issues about connectivity. Tim, you were talking to Rob about that tonight. The antenna will go on a building that's kind of far from the point of entry of the telephone service. So DSL, the wiring from the point of entry to the modem underneath the antenna is a little doubtful. We're not sure it's going to get there. We don't want to lay it because we would have to drill holes in cement, and if we do all that work and get to the modem and it doesn't work, it would have been wasted. So we're exploring a second option, which would be to bounce our signal off the roof here, either to the hotel or the Phoenix, and up to Sonoma Mountain, and back down to JC, which would actually be a better option because we're not tied to the telephone service and the monthly charges that would entail. But the idea is to pursue a website with streaming capacity ASAP, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So that we hope to be broadcasting or recording shows that could be broadcasted by Thanksgiving. As you can see, the office has been remodeled, the window was replaced, the table was built. We just finished a major operation to get a covering for the desk. We spent about a week looking for a remnant of a rug, but everything was too harsh and rough and ugly. So we went with pool table felt with quotes around it, according to Mark, and cloth, pool table cloth, and a foam pad. And I got to tell you that there'll be pictures coming out on the Facebook. Certainly, gluing the cloth to the foam was a major operation. There were four of us. Everybody had masks on because the glue was industrial. And then Rob and I cut it today, and he put on a couple pieces of equipment. And there's some finishing rubber cement around the edges, and then we will double-sided tape to hold it flat. So that's moving along.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
real quick about the bouncing of the signal? How does interference, if it's, this is beyond my area of expertise, but if it's bouncing from one place to another, how does that affect the signal, I guess is my question.
As I understand it, it doesn't affect it at all. It's line of sight. If a tree were to be blowing in the wind in between, that could break it. As long as it's line of sight, the signal would.
And there's enough power. I mean, we're a low power.
I don't have the answer to that,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
haven't pursued it beyond this, but if
Okay.
that were a problem.
The low power FM part's not related.
The part that I wanted to know about that, I didn't mean to interrupt your report on the other thing that you were already moving into, but I also had questions, and that you're talking about the wiring from the telephone room on campus to the antenna, is that what it is?
Yes,
Is it a loss of
yes.
it's, okay, so why can't they put a repeater in instead of doing all of this?
Tim, would you take that? Because I think you were talking
can.
to Rob.
Because
Wouldn't
you
it
lots
be
of things
cheaper
that
to
we
buy
We talked about that.
a repeater instead of doing all this other bouncy stuff?
There's several options.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob and Tim met for half an hour prior.
Doesn't Mark wanna leave by 7?
Okay,
This'll
we'll
get
talk
into-
about this
We
afterwards,
get into this, it's
but-
gonna take longer than 7
Yeah.
o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, well, okay,
Offline conversation.
We try to be nice.
yeah, we'll talk impedance afterwards, okay,
No,
alright,
Outside impedance.
I'm impeding that conversation.
yeah. loss and gain. How many dB? Alright. Anyway, so,
Yeah, we are exploring all the options and all the upsides and downsides and
Got it.
Including the impedance of Cindy, by Cindy.
we can
Alright.
dial that down.
okay, you can go back to what you were talking about.
So equipment is coming in every day. We're waiting now. I think the last piece we really need to get to step forward in there are the arms for the microphones, because there'll have to be holes drilled in the table, and we don't want to mount the foam pad on top until we got those holes drilled. Most exciting though is that we're pushing forward on the website, and as you know, you weren't here last week. The idea of rebuilding a new website from the ground up with a new platform was not recommended by the board. The board recommended to stick with WordPress, and that has proven to be a very smart move.
Did you guys meet like you were going to, and
No, we
I found
didn't
the
meet,
plugin.
but
you were supposed to meet offline and,
no.
He's got it handled, clearly.
So what we
did
did
you
is
flake again?
No,
Nobody ever
John
called.
handled it.
John handled it. I'm sure he got a hold of somebody, found the plug-in, and off you go.
What we did is we posted on a lower level, just looking for WordPress, we posted on our Facebook page, and somehow Chris got it onto Nextdoor, the Oak Hill Park cycle, and bingo, we had 2 people come in with WordPress experience. We met with them last week, and their bids came in today. One bid was for $2,400, and another bid was for $1,200 to $1,500.
Sounds like better than the other pricing you were getting.
Definitely.
I don't know.
That
I
sounds
think
kind of
we should
disappointing
spend
for a
10,000.
plugin though. Sorry, I think it's a lot of money to do a WordPress plugin, but
Well-
I wasn't at the last meeting, so
It's more
I'll
than
withhold
that.
my opinion.
It's more than that.
I guess it depends on how many hours it really is going to take them, because it wouldn't be
Put a plug in it.
150 an hour. Probably is not bad for somebody.
No, it's more than that, because we have 2 URLs. They have to be meshed with a splash page, break into 2. We have to build the second one, and
Well, that right there is really expensive. That's what they're proposing.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
I was really happy because the person I felt that was the best for us came in at the lowest price, and her name is Judith Marciante, and she lives right up here on Kentucky Street. And she really got where we're at, and she gave us a very, I think, generous estimate.
Talk her into being a member while you're at it.
We'll get there. But we're gonna start working. Chris and Rob and I will start working with her at the end of this week, and get
Can
our.
I ask just a question? What then, if we're just gonna be patching together the WordPress, at what point we actually see rebuilding that website?
I don't see rebuilding it.
Maybe I'll
I'm
tell-
very disappointed because I
You
think
can-
it's very outdated, but that's,
You can tell us next month.
yeah,
Okay.
that's my only opinion.
And we've had about a dozen new memberships, all due to the radio. So
50%.
it's jumping, and I mean, that's not even the people who came to the. I mean, how many of you people have joined yet? No. Okay, you've joined. But we had 40 people here this summer for the stakeholders meetings. You were there at a standing room only one, and a lot of people are starting to enroll. So the radio's going to put us back on the map. Here's another copy of the website bid that won. And last on my report is the school district. Let me find that email. Chris has been talking, as we left it, we were gonna talk to Sue Merrill. I sent her an email, she came back really excited, saying, we just hired somebody whose job it is to deal with exactly that. So Chris has been dealing with Dave Fischera at the school district, and he's pursuing both our relationships with the different high schools for graduations and the board designate. So we'll be sitting down with him. And it's gonna be his job to find us somebody. And it looks like he was hired to do just that, so
So he's gonna sit down with whom?
Chris and I,
Need me
yeah,
for any help?
Absolutely.
I'm happy to do that.
yes. You can take that. That's a copy of the exchange between Chris and Dave.
Okay.
So that's my report. And if there's any questions.
Okay, thank you, John. Does anybody have further questions for John on his report?
Yep.
Okay. There's nothing on our consent calendar. I don't believe any committees met in the last month.
Yep.
Which reminds me, after the meeting, we need to get a fundraising committee meeting scheduled. I think for next week, probably. Okay,
And just to add to that, I talked to your dad and I talked to Paul because we did a radio survey and it was the people who answered it in the affirmative for an interest in the seat on the board. We also asked if anybody was interested in helping with the fundraiser, and there were quite a few. So we've got a
we're gonna
volunteer.
need it.
We got a volunteer pool for the fundraiser.
Okay, so let's move to old business. Item 10A, discussion and possible action on the envelope please 2017, and you guys will see that. We spell it out in acronym TEP. That's the envelope please. That's our fundraiser, our annual fundraiser. We had our first fundraiser February 2016. Our next one will be February 2017. If you're not aware, we rented the Mystic Theater for the evening, and we do this on Academy Awards night, and we do a big viewing on their big screen there.
I got it.
So it's an Oscar party. That was a lot of
Great.
fun.
I wish I'd known about that.
Pardon me?
I wish I had known about that last year.
Yeah, we got a real nice write-up in the
Organist.
Press Democrat for it, yeah, with nice pictures and an online article also with
That's great.
probably 35 photos in there, but
Willie
get
Brown
some for
used to
you.
do a fundraiser in San Francisco where it was for that evening, Academy Awards, and it was for a particular youth organization in San Francisco, and
oh,
it was terrific. Everybody
maybe
got
you have
dressed
some
up in
ideas.
tuxedos and
Okay.
stuff like that.
maybe you
It
wanna
was wonderful.
join one of our meetings and
Sure.
and share what who you know about the husband.
Sure.
Yeah, we're kind of struggling a little bit. We don't have quite the robust steering committee that we had last year, which is a plus and a minus in some ways, but
We had too many ideas.
we had
and
too
we
many
made a lot
ideas
of
last
mistakes.
year, and
A lot
yeah,
of passion.
we got bogged down. We were stuck in the weeds for a long time, but we pulled it off, and it was nice. And this
It
year,
was
we're,
fun to get dressed up.
Yeah,
That
it's
was-
great to get dressed up.
yeah,
We had red carpet.
Everybody's wearing T-shirts, you know, in
Yeah.
California. It's nice to put a tuxedo on
there's
every
not
once in a
much
while.
of an opportunity here in Petaluma for that. So.
Plaid is dressing up, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, so I don't see that there's really anything to discuss out of what we just said.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate that I'm working with Deborah for the logo, and she says fixing the poster is real easy. We just changed the date to the last Sunday and add the single price at $60. That is the correct price, right? I want to double check that.
It
$60.
will be once you print the poster.
It will be. Okay. And I will start revising the text for the back of the postcard. The front of the postcard will not change at all. It doesn't have the date, it doesn't have anything, it's the same postcard. So it's just the flip side that needs to be revised. And maybe
Okay.
rewritten, if we could approach it differently. Hopefully we can talk about that. I'll have a draft we can take to the next meeting.
Yeah, let's try and do that next week. Okay, so no action on item 10A, 10B under old business, discussion only on the KPCA logo,
Okay,
which we,
I didn't make enough copies for everybody but board members right now. Just one more for Mark.
I thought we had it down to a couple.
Well,
Oh, these are versions of the
We
same.
took those couple and
There
we
you go.
pushed them forward. I got one more. You can look at
I can
one.
share. I can share with.
that's a good one down.
Yeah. Oh, you got two.
I can share with them.
So,
There's the Soviet one.
See? Clearly the Russians did it.
They were in a hurry.
we don't have to decide tonight, but I'd love to hear feedback, because I think we're close and,
I don't like the Google-ish one.
I like V1, which was in the first draft. We liked it, so I asked her to try it with different fonts, different sizes. There were the microphone versions. I'm not fond of this. These were kind of thrown in at the end. These aren't as exciting. We definitely decided to get rid of the boxes, the old logo, which you can see on this life preserver. But the red, green, and blue have been PCA for the last 8 years.
Is that
and-
RGB?
Yeah, it comes in the color bars. And I think it would be wise to keep some continuity, so it's an evolution, not a complete overhaul.
I like A1 also.
I was gonna say that too. I like A1 the best. But my only thought would be that the 103.3 should be bigger.
Absolutely. So we got a vote for A1, we got a,
Can I
would-
vote?
yes,
Yeah.
Definitely B1,
B1?
yeah.
I'm with the B1 or the B3. I like the simplicity. I think when you have all those moving parts in a brand, it starts to get really hard to print onto things with the microphones. And I don't like the crazy color variations.
Well, we tried yellow, I don't think yellow works.
I would go for B1 if the Petaluma Community Radio were all uppercase, it'd be a little easier to read maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could work. Because the other ones are lowercase. Be a nice contrast.
Yeah, case.
The
What can
B1,
you read in it?
they look a little too much like the KPFA logo. They use the
In
same
between the lines.
radio lines. That's just the first thing that popped in my head was the KPFA logo. It's not quite the same. I just looked it up, but that's why I like
You're
the
right,
A.
they do use the waves.
Mhm.
They have the little
That's why I
dancing
like the
guys.
A1 better, or the A side at least.
I helped design the sign for Lawrence Park Public Media Station, KRBC.
Oh,
Case,
KRCD?
something like that, yeah.
Here,
Yeah,
Which is up now.
yeah.
That
That's-
functioned for many, many years without
That's
any
public,
kind
that's public radio, that's a notch
of
above public
radio
access.
and television,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, great, take a look at it carefully now.
I like the B1. I like that you've got 103.3 FM on there. I think you gotta have that on there. It's gonna
Yeah.
help people focus on that.
It's on all the others, but it's not big enough. on
Yeah,
all the others.
that
This
one
one is really,
stands out.
yeah. What if we took off the waves, it just gets real simple.
Yeah.
I like some graphic representation personally. And
I concur.
KPFA, the things are like in the corner of it. They have a box. I feel it's very distinctive if you look at their branding. It's very different.
Yeah.
Like it's the same idea, but it's totally. It's not. I don't feel when I look at the KPFA brand. I don't have any. That's what it looks like.
Oh, they do have a little.
They have
I
little
thought they had a
wavy.
little dancing guy too.
I think there's a dancing guy as well.
It'd be kind of neat to have
This might be their new branding.
the
Yeah, that's the one.
microphone logo instead of the waves. I just like the very simplified A1 microphone logo. It doesn't have, it gets the point across, but there's not any like extraneous. But
So that's good to know. I mean, we're really down to basically 2 with minor tweaks, uppercase. And I'm also thinking that whatever we decide for KPCA will impact the TV as well. We'll drop off the K, we'll use the same font for PCA, but
That's
would it be
true.
the
And you can
same?
just drop the channel in there instead of the FM.
Well, we've got 4 channels,
Oh,
it gets
that's right.
complicated. As long as ATU verse is still there, it's complicated, but it's not impossible
For now.
to think it through. But if we kept the microphone instead of the waves, we could maybe find a TV box to go with it for the PCA version.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess when I look at branding, I think of all the different iterations and how you would want it to be situated, and like, if you printed this without the microphones, I feel like there's nothing going on, because we might opt to print it without the microphones in certain contexts, but if you print this without the waves, there's still something insightful going on. So that's kind of how I think about my branding is, if you get rid of pieces of it, are you still going to be holding on to the initial branding? And I mean, I could see either of them translating into TV, but I don't know. That's just my thing. I think B1's cleaner, way cleaner. Yeah.
I always think of the idea like you can just, and you still see what it is, like you still kind of get what it is, like it works. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a good brand if you can see it and be like, oh, I get it.
Okay. Everybody comfortable with the lowercase for the KPCA?
That's good.
Maybe for the radio, it's the lowercase KPCA, and for the TV, it's the uppercase PCA.
Have we thought about like narrowing it down to the 3 top ones and just getting like a community vote?
Yeah, we do that.
Just,
Just
we
take
can or cannot go with what the community decides, but maybe if we narrowed it down to 3 and just said, hey, we're trying to get some open input, what do you think?
Well, we've got 2. We've narrowed it down to 2.
Or 2, we can say these are our last 2, which do you think, which do you like better, and just see what, I think what reminisces with people will be more important than, you know, the broader community.
Do a Facebook, Twitter,
You can do a Facebook survey, or
Yeah.
you can send it out to members.
Yeah.
See what they think.
totally free.
Say it's their radio, so they can decide what.
I totally concur. Let the public decide.
So we're comfortable with the wave, the 3 lines on the left, or you
Put
want
it out to the public.
I would.
Let them do the microphone or let them do the wave.
Just see what they think. I think we should see what people think.
Yeah.
Why not?
And then we'll tell them what they said.
What were
Yeah,
you
well,
gonna
I
say,
mean, at
Dennis?
the end of the day,
Well-
yeah, but it still might be nice to see what
Yeah.
resonates most with
I want to
people.
hear what Dennis was going to say.
I was just another point.
Is that market study?
With
Yes.
the classic KPFA bumper sticker that you see all over the place, is also in lowercase and looks a lot like that. So
That's true.
I listen to a lot of KPFA, but it would be nice to kind of differentiate. Because like this is the classic black on yellow KPFA is pretty much what the KPCA looks like. I'm trying to.
You
I
know,
love
when you
R&B.
look at B2,
Rip off and duplicate.
it looks more
Make it
familiar
better.
when you
Rip
think
off
of
and
it in
duplicate.
terms of
Make it better. Or rough and
of
make
the
it better.
TV. I don't know if that would make a difference.
R&D is
for folks
awesome.
or not.
Yeah. Well, that would be a choice we would put out for residents with
B1 and B2?
B1 and B2.
Well, I'm trying to imagine if we took B1 and took the waves away and put
The microphone.
the microphone instead, because I like this whole typeface and composition better than A1's.
I thought about that
Typeface
too,
and
and I was trying to
composition.
decide which microphone I like best, and I like the A2 microphone.
I like the A2 one.
That's very helpful, thank you.
What says radio?
Yeah.
Says
And that
microphone.
would be easily adapted to put some sort of TV icon in there for the PCA.
In the same circle.
Same
Yeah.
circle.
Okay.
So there are 3 versions.
I can't wait to see the vote online.
Online vote. We're almost there, I can feel it.
Full blown marketing.
And
It's like
this-
if you have a restaurant, you should go out in front of your restaurant and hand out your food and see if people even like it.
Yeah, market research.
Well, that was my
You know?
that was my criteria at the Art Institute. If I dropped my painting in the gutter, would somebody
Would they pick it up?
up?
Would you buy a Banksy if you didn't know it was a Banksy?
Yeah. Probably. Well, great. That's discussion only on KPCA logo. I have to I have direction.
That was great
So
input.
B1, B2, and A2 are the ones to develop with a uppercase on the Petaluma Community
Yeah,
Access.
only A2 would need to have 103.3, you know, incorporating.
Can we merge those? Can we merge B1 and A2?
Yes, we can try a merge.
Le merge.
Yeah.
Can they do that A2 microphone but in just solid white?
Take the A2 microphone and stick it on B2 instead of the waves, is that what?
B1.
No, I mean like the microphone logo instead of with the black with the gray
Without the
gradient,
circle? Yeah.
just black, just a solid white like the A1, but still have like the detail of the
Kinda
microphone
like
grill.
A4.
It's the shadow.
Like C6 really, but pure
Mhm.
white.
Oh yeah.
I think it looks because the gradient I don't think adds anything to it.
And it's
Yeah,
gonna
C6.
it's gonna print really poorly too.
Yeah, but C6, but that looks
True,
kind of gray in
C6.
my
And
eye.
look funky as
If it was
C6
just
will be
pure
cleaner,
white.
right?
Yeah.
Are we confusing you enough yet?
No, I'm with you.
Can, okay.
Sketchy here for you while I'm getting ready too, just because I really want to see what it would look like.
Okay, are we ready to move, or are you?
Yes, I'm ready. I got enough. And there will
Okay.
be 3 or 4 versions, and maybe I'll throw in the
Time is
PCA along with it.
I gotta go to the bathroom pretty soon.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Thanks for the update, the physiological
So we have,
update.
well, we might have a vote, so we might have jump to new biz.
What's that?
We might have a vote on new biz.
In new biz?
Are we
Okay.
ready to appoint anyone?
Oh, it was on
Going,
that.
okay, well, all right, so just wait for just a minute, Mark. Under new business 11A, discussion and possible action on board officer appointments. I would like you to participate in that, but I was going to make a suggestion before you even said you had to leave by 7 tonight, that we table this, appointment of board officers until next, month, until we, maybe bring on a few more board members and we can better figure out what our structure
I'll second that.
should.
Yeah, definitely.
Does everybody,
So Cindy
I
moved.
don't know.
Body.
I motion
so
that.
I'm not making a motion,
No,
I'm,
no,
I'm,
it's just
I'm
second.
making a recommendation to table it to the next meeting with a consensus of the board,
Table,
I consent.
it's
I
tabled.
agree.
Or
I
continue.
agree.
Okay.
depending what you wanna call it.
And I just wanna say in that context that newly appointed board members, we don't usually throw an officer role at you at the
Oh,
beginning. But we might have to this time, and don't worry, I can help you through it, cause I end up doing it, a lot of it anyway. Certainly with the minutes.
We take
Makes it
care of each
funner.
other here. Okay, so we, consensus to table 11A to the next meeting. So 11B under new business is discussion and possible action on the employee handbook. This is,
That's not a
something that
closed
you're
session?
sharing with us, it's,
Is that a closed session item or is that?
It might drift into closed session, but
Okay.
I just wanna say that the 3 changes that we're basically making, besides clarifying a few gray areas at Brooke's suggestion, is we are, let's see. Yeah, I guess a lot of it is bookkeeping.
Plus or minus, huh?
Make them stay after car dealers, whatever.
They'll wait. They'll wait. They'll wait for you.
Yeah, that's my friend though. I don't wanna make, he's got a family.
No, it's basically clarifying a few things in the benefits. We have regular full-time, regular part-time, and a probationary period. And the benefits that go with each were never complete, were kind of fuzzy. We knew what they were, but this document
call it
didn't.
a gray area.
A gray area. Well, yeah, well, it was just poorly written. So, the biggest one is, I think we should bring the total hours of paid sick leave should be capped at 24. We capped it at 48.
Don't we have to provide 3 days per law?
24 is the official minimum.
For,
can't-
I thought for full-time and part-time employees it was 3 days, 72 hours.
I was told it was 24 to 48, and we put it at the top, and
The top doesn't work.
it doesn't work, and we can talk about that later.
Okay, well, so since this is gonna impact the budget, I think there is gonna have to be more discussion and,
Okay.
cause
Okay.
let's table it for the next meeting. Let's talk about the item in closed session, which
Okay.
will impact our thoughts on how to
How to,
process this.
yes. Okay. Tabled. The minutes will reflect that this item was tabled.
Okay, so 11B is tabled, so then we'll adjourn now for closed session to discuss an HR issue, so thank you for being here, and we will adjourn the meeting now.
Okay, thank you all for coming. Thank you for
Okay,
your input on the logo,
So
that was
we
fun.
can take a little break right now,
Right.
if you guys have any questions
Could
or
you
anything
let
before
the
we
hand
go
do-
into
Yeah,
closed
clap really
session.
loud. It's not that great, though.
I'm fine.
And it's really, it's a simple, we follow Robert's Rules of Order, but it's, you know, that's in our bylaws, it's pretty simple.